Okay, so if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, then you should watch them first. But to recap, we have learned that we have done the unthinkable. We have built a world of our own without the hardships of the jungle. Old problems have been replaced by new problems. However, there was one problem that persisted throughout all history: the existential load. That weight you feel just from simply existing. It is the awareness of the impermanence of, well, everything. We navigate through our lives, through good times and through bad, knowing that all of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences will add up to a final summation: death. And through our scientific inquiries, we have come to understand the fate of not only humanity, but also the entire universe. So rather than descending into the comforting embrace of nihilism, we try to justify our existence. We attempted this by believing in an afterlife and a divinity of all things. We tried to escape the plagues of the mind through conscious altering plants. And at a later date, once the climate had become more hospitable, we started to form societies led by the will of the supreme gods. So where did this leave you and I? Nihilism is not the answer. Despite the certainty of impermanence, we do not behave like everything is meaningless. You get up every morning, go to school or go to work. You socialize with your friends and family. You contribute to the growth of the wider community. You find love and probably get your heart broken along the way. You have triumphant successes and enjoy your way through calamitous defeats. Whether you are aware of it or not, you navigate through life assigning greater importance to different things. We all have a hierarchy of values. We simply do not treat things like they are meaningless, because they are not. Something has meaning because we give it meaning. I think religion has been one of the most important inventions humans have created because it lightened the existential load and enabled us to survive. There is good reason to doubt that without this hierarchy of meaning, we would not have been able to cooperate as effectively as what we have done. And if that doubt happened to be true, then you and I would not be here. With that being said though, I do not think in order to live a good life, you need to be religious in the traditional sense. But I do think you need to be able to justify your existence somehow. So, let's justify our existence. You are the main character of your RPG. At the start of the game, you are basically useless, dependent on everyone around you. The start is complete luck. Luck in terms of what environment you are born into. Some of us are very lucky to be raised in safe and secure homes, cities, states, and countries, but others are not as fortunate. So in terms of experience points, someone who is fortunate like me starts at say 0 XP, but someone who is not as fortunate is disadvantaged. So the starting point may be something like negative 300 XP. And while this is not crucial for playing your game, I wanted to highlight that I think it's important to be grateful for your starting point, but also to highlight that there is an advantage to those who are disadvantaged. At some point in your development, you need to start making decisions for yourself, and this is where you start to accumulate XP. If you are in a less stable environment, then chances are you need to start making decisions for yourself earlier than everyone else. Now, you are already making up for that deficit. But like in all RPGs, your XP increases slowly in the beginning. And this makes sense, because the number of experiences you have is pretty limited, and the enemies you have to fight are generally pretty weak. Your XP increases by the number of experiences you have, the knowledge that you collect, and the power level of the enemies you face. Now you accumulate XP just from participating. So if you lose, then no problem, no XP loss. In fact, you gain XP from having that experience. But if you win, well, that's like a multiplier. If you are in an unstable environment, you probably have to face a boss fight at level 1, and you'll most likely be defeated. However, even in defeat, you'll gain XP, but there is a chance that that defeat will break your spirit, and that will prevent you from accumulating XP in the future. Of course, your experience points will increase as you continue in life, but your skill level will be capped until you break through the fears that you have. And the best way to unravel these fears is to undergo psychological training with a licensed professional. So now that you have accumulated enough XP to power up, you need to make a decision. Where am I going to spend my experience points? If you are a rare metahuman, you may already know what you're going to do with your life. And in that case, it makes sense to immediately specialize. For example, if you want to be the world's greatest swordsman, well, it makes sense for you to invest in close combat. But if you are like the rest of us and do not know what you would like your final form to be, then slowly building a balanced, diversified foundation would be an appropriate strategy. And if you chose that strategy, a good execution plan would be to focus on one area at a time. And so you traverse through life, bouncing from one experience to another, further increasing your comfort zone, suffering defeats, but then picking yourself back up and defeating stronger and stronger enemies, slowly becoming a well-rounded human. And by this time, you are truly independent and able to face whatever challenges that excite you. And when you have achieved this solid foundation, it is time to reflect and specialize. Okay, in what direction am I going to take my life? And it may turn out that the direction was not what you thought it to be. But that doesn't matter, because with the confidence that you have built within yourself, you can decide to change directions. As you take on different story arcs in this game of life, you will slay monsters, save mages, liberate countries. Sure, it's spectacular to see the growth and progress within yourself as you become a more powerful person. But what really fulfills you is the connection that you form with other people, and to see the positive effect you have on them. You have become a source of inspiration for other people to power up and face their fears. You form a community, a sense of, this is who I am, these are my people, and I will protect everyone. And as you get older, you become all too aware that you will not be remembered by what you say or what you do, but how you made people feel. And so with that, you turn your attention away from conquest towards helping as many people as possible. Then it finally dawns on you. Sure, I have powered up and done incredible things. I have climbed mountains, swam in the depths of the ocean, and broke through many of the limiting beliefs that I had for myself. But I finally realized, while I had an amazing time and a lot of fun, none of that was actually for me. Soon I will die and all those memories will become insignificant. But now I'm able to share my stories, my experiences, my triumphs, my defeats, and all the lessons I have learned along my playthrough to my children and to whoever else will listen to me, in hope I can make their journey just a little bit easier. That will be my legacy. I might cease to exist, but the influence I had will propagate through generations. And this is what makes life worth living. The fact that you can make a difference. Never underestimate the void that you will leave behind. And do not succumb to the bleak realities of the world. Do not follow some doctrine just because it is put on you. You are the hero of your RPG, so play it. Live the life you want to live. And if that includes some spiritual guidance, then all power to you. But be aware that your doctrine is no more accurate than any other that currently exists or have existed in the past. Develop your own hierarchy of what's important. You owe it to yourself and to everyone else to reach your maximum power level. Become the fullest version of yourself so you can help as many people as you can. Because this is how we progressively make the world a better place. I'm grateful to be here and I'm so excited to see what we can do. If we are able to achieve this, I am almost certain that as we lay on our deathbeds, we can be satisfied with the lives we have lived. One of my favorite shows is The Good Place. It's about a group of friends who died and went to the afterlife. Over the course of the 4 seasons, they escaped eternal damnation and saved humanity along the way. Once they reached the good place, they realized that without any problems to solve and without any adversity, life is pretty boring. So the solution is to put an end on the afterlife. Once an individual feels like it is time, they stare the finality of their existence in the face and walk through that door. I think it is the end that provides meaning to our lives. But as I said, your legacy can still live on. And if you are hoping that the afterlife will be better, well, I have this to say. Heaven, we're already here. Can you guys hear that? That's just the guys doing some whippersnipping in our complex. But I'm going to wrap this video up anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed the Existential Load. It's essentially been about my philosophy in life. Like this battle between trying to find meaning in a meaningless world that still has some sort of scientific grounding to it. And ultimately over this time that I've just come to realize that the most important thing is what you do with your time here to help as many people as possible, because that's what's going to live on. And I think by the time this comes out, Christmas should be around the corner. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'll see you guys in the new year, and I'll start actually talking about different ideas that I have implemented in my own life to enable me to feel in more control and have a greater sense of clarity. So with that being said, remain hopeful, and I'll see you in the next video. I know you don't like the whippersnipper, but you need to stop. You need to stop this barking, Murph. Okay. Hello.